Alright, hello everyone, welcome back to a new video. I'm Carl here at Carl Stacey Guitar Tuition, and today I'm really excited to talk about these two songs and these two bands, okay? Thank you very much to everyone that checked out my previous video that is like this. If not, you can check out my channel, which is about how this song changed pop punk forever. Today we're going to be talking about a genre of music that's near and dear to my heart, and one of these bands is near and dear to my heart as well. And that is essentially 2000s emo. Alright, there's loads of different eras of emo and aspects of emo, but we're talking about 2000s emo to be specific. And there's two massive bands, one much more massive than the other, that come to mind when I think of 2000s emo, that I feel like really changed the game and the landscape and the genre as a whole. So the first tune, if you didn't recognize it, was Ohio's for Lovers by Hawthorne Heights, and the second tune was I'm Not Okay by MCR. Hawthorne Heights is one of my all-time favorite bands, and they've put out some of my all-time favorite albums, and my favorite band in that kind of emo, post-hardcore, screamo, pop-punk world. MCR are a massive, huge band that so many people love and so many people appreciate. I don't necessarily personally, I never really, for whatever reason, it's just one of those things. I have nothing against the music of the band. I just never clicked with the songs, and it clicked with the band, and then yeah, kind of just went over my head a little bit. But obviously, being in music, I tend to kind of analyze different aspects of things. So one thing, obviously, growing up, is always seeing that band everywhere at all times. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it down into those two songs and those two bands, and why I feel like they really changed the landscape and helped so much with this style of music in general. So, first things first, Ohio's for Lovers, Hawthorne Heights, right? You may not know who they are, but you also may know who they are and have maybe forgotten about them since, because they're one of those bands these days that just has a very loyal, kind of dedicated cult fan base that keeps the band growing and alive, still active this day, still putting some of the best albums I've ever heard out. But yeah, a lot of people tend to kind of, I don't know, they listen to the first two albums in the early 2000s and then maybe veered off into other things and kind of lost track of the band's career and direction, things like that. But Ohio's for Lovers, famous for the line in the chorus, cut my wrists and black my eyes. I mean, how emo can you get, or how emo do you really want to get? Because that's pretty damn emo, if you ask me. This song is huge in that culture, in that world, and that the lyrics that I've just cited have essentially became like somewhat of a meme, I guess, and the band have sort of embraced that as well with merchandise and all that sort of stuff, citing those lyrics, which is really cool. And most people will know that song or know those lyrics in general because, again, it was a massive tune in the early 2000s. But I feel like that band really changed it because, like, they were the perfect example of, like, a very DIY, hard-working, kind of lower-class band that really just dedicated their time to putting out music, working on music, going on the road, building a fan base, and they're just normal, everyday dudes in the best way possible. And in that aspect, I feel like it really showed you that it was possible to... You don't have to be the biggest band in the world to have the most success. You can have a good album, a good single, and then build a career off that and from that. And they've really shown that, especially like in the later years of band and things like that. And I feel like that song really spoke to a lot of people, really connected with a lot of people. And stylistically also showed that you don't have to be the heaviest band, because Hawthorne Heights aren't necessarily a heavy band. They have screaming, they have heavy moments, they have the dark lyrics, but they're not necessarily a heavy band overall. So to me, like, landscape-wise, it really showed that you can kind of marry the perfect kind of melodic, beautiful, relaxing aspect of post-hardcore and emo with this more kind of modern pop-punk, kind of screamo-type visual and sound and aspect and all them sort of things, which I find really interesting and really cool. So, say what you think, say what you will. These are all my opinions at the end of the day, of course. We can talk about it below either way, but yeah. The next tune, MCR, that song was all over Kerrang all day, every day when I was a kid. Huge song, one of the biggest songs, arguably, next to Black Parade and things like that. And obviously, again, lyrically it spoke to a lot of people because it was like speaking from the perspective of a teenager or a young 20s and kind of the things that you feel, things that you go through. Very emo lyrics, very emotional lyrics. So I know a lot of fans love that band or are dedicated to that band from the lyrics alone, to be completely honest. But the part I want to talk about as far as that band and that song changing the emo kind of landscape and music overall going forward would be, I mean, like, to this day, they're still a huge band, even though they haven't released an album in God knows how many years at this point. There's so many students that I work with here at Carlstacey Guitar Tuition that love them, and I teach a lot of the songs and things like that. So obviously, again, I see this a lot of the time firsthand. In this song, I feel, in this band, I feel just came at the right time, the right moment, the right set of dudes. Aesthetically, they just had the look. They had that kind of gothy, emo, kind of black hair, black nails, guy liner type look about them, skinny jeans. That's one thing. Fashion-wise, the band, I feel like the band really changed the landscape fashion-wise alone. So, like, the black skinny jean thing, massive in the 2000s. I'm guilty of the same thing. The guy liner thing, massive in the 2000s. The long or longish side fringes, whatever, black hair, massive in the 2000s. So they had a massive impact on the fashion and the style and all those kinds of things. Never mind like the songs being good and the lyrics being connecting and emotional and all that sort of stuff. And I feel like they just continued to sort of like build on that, and it just changed a lot of especially teenagers' lives, because again, the music just spoke to them. The style, the aesthetic, the look really just spoke to them. And I feel like that grasped on to a lot of people, and it kind of probably changed the direction of where they were going in life and the music that we're into and their influences and all those sorts of things, which I find really cool, really interesting. So, again, this is all my opinions, what I've seen, what I've noticed, what I've heard, what I've learned off nearly 20 years of being in music and playing music. And yeah, these two bands and these two songs are massive for that scene, especially in the 2000s. Let me know what you think, what you feel. We'll have a conversation down below. Let's talk about it. Let's see. Either way, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.